Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. So today, not a great day for miners, Bitcoin in general. Markets were kind of mixed as well. So what the heck is going on? Is it just a little low here in price action for the miners? Possibly, right? We have some obviously fears of not Bitcoin, AI bubble potentially. I've heard some people talking about OpenAI as the next end run potentially, which is crazy to me. Yes, they obviously have a lot of debt out there. They also have a lot of potential as well. So we'll kind of take a look at what's going on here with all this stuff here as far as Bitcoin miners. We'll get into also maybe a positive story on Bitcoin as far as the M2 money supply as well. And then we'll take a look at Cleanspark news, Bitdeer news, get into Q&A here, and we'll call it a day, okay? As always, thank you so much for coming in here, and not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously here. And let's take a look at what we got going on here with our lovely Bitcoin and the miners. They haven't been so lovely lately here. Bitcoin right now is still battling with the 50 simple day moving average here. We can see that we were down, obviously, today. We were down 5.28%. That's on the weekly, sorry. On the daily, here we go. On the daily, we were down 2.8%. On the weekly, we're battling with the 50 simple day moving average here. But today we obviously went down quite a bit there, 2.8. We're up a little bit here in the new day for it. And when we look at the weekly, we can see that we are battling with the 50 SMA here, which is this line right there. And if we zoom in really close here, potentially, we can see that we're like right on that line right now. We're hovering at that line here. So historically, we have bounced off of it here, right? We've seen it here where we came close to it. We broke below it, bounced off of it here. I'm hoping it's going to be the same thing. I think tomorrow the government shutdown is supposed to end as well. That might be a good thing for us going forward. That might start pumping things up here a little bit. But overall, the markets were a little bit mixed, like I said today. Dow Jones was actually up. NASDAQ was down. S&P was up. Russell was up as well. Ethereum today was down also. Let's take a look at on the daily here. Ethereum was down 4.2% here. Miners were all in the red here today. We continue to have a sell-off here. I think what's happening here is just a lot of people taking profits. I mean, these things have run up quite nicely here, and we haven't had really any good news catalyst to propel them going forward here, I think. So that's kind of the reason why we're seeing this slow bleed out in a lot of these guys here, like Bitfarms, right? Bitfarms was down today 5.87%. It is now kind of battling with the 50-day simple moving average on this one. You can see that as well. So, I mean, we're seeing this kind of across the board here for all the miners here. Bitdeer got hit hard here. I think it's because of their quarterly results that came out yesterday. We're going to talk about those today here. I can see possibly why this thing is getting hit pretty hard here. We'll talk about it at that point, but it was down 14.9% today. Yesterday was down 19.74% here, so that's a lot of gains that have been erased here. It hasn't been this low since going back to September here. So that's kind of interesting there. Kango was down another 4.49%, or not another, just another down 4.49. Cypher was down also 4.99% there. This thing obviously got to a high here recently, last week, and then we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 days in the red on that one. That one's still looking pretty good overall. Cleanspark was down 6.5% here. This thing obviously has taken quite a beating here recently. I think recently now, today was basically because of the convertible notes there. We'll talk about that as well. We have some update on that. CORZ was down 10.21% here. Not sure why it was down yesterday as well. 4.46% was down today, 10%. I watched an interview with the CEO of CoreWeave on CNBC with Jim Cramer there. Jim Cramer kind of pressed him on, Jim Cramer was kind of actually, quite forceful and, saying that this company's not doing that great because their biggest supplier of megawatts, which is obviously Core Scientific there, is not able to meet, I wouldn't say meet the demand, but not able to build out fast enough for their needs. So they're delayed a little bit right now on getting those megawatts converted over to HPCI business for them. But the CEO there of CoreWeave sounded like he was pretty optimistic that they could get that resolved this quarter, and then they're going to be doing better going forward here. So maybe that's why CORZ was down today. Hive was down 2.33%. This thing obviously has also come down quite a bit here. It's battling with the 50 SMA as well. HUT 8 was down 6.91%. It battled with the 50 here recently, right? Kind of bounced off it, and it's getting close to that again. IREN is down 4.64%. It's still a little ways away from the 50-day simple moving average here. It's about $6 away, roughly, from that. And this thing obviously reached a new all-time high here recently as well last week. So we're still in this kind of groove here right now where we're getting higher, going lower, getting higher, going lower. Then eventually I think we will start to go back up higher here as well. Mara was down 6.1%. Mara just went through all the different SMAs here. It fell through the 50, the 100, and the 200 SMAs here. It got to a high of $23.45 here. This was back on October 16th, 15th actually. And it's come down way back to where it was here in September as well. So we're seeing some of that happening also. Riot was down 6.81%. Blew past the 50 SMA, and it's now getting close to the 100 SMA as well on that one. So this one's going back to September as well, right? But if you look at the price action here, we're back to September prices, and the RSI is much lower than it is right now. So that leads me to believe that we're going to probably pump up much higher than a lot of these guys here. And if you look at some of the other charts that we just looked at, you'll see the same situation happening as well. And then Wolf was down today quite a bit also. Was down 13.5%. Not sure why. I think it's just part of the market in general. It's not too far off from where it was at $17.05 here recently. And this one is battling with the 50 SMA also. Last time this thing was at this price was back here. This was in October. Prior to that, we were in October, beginning of October as well. Again, look at the RSI at that point. It was over 70% here at the same price. We are now at RSI 43. So it seems like we're just taking a breather. We are, lowering things as far as the RSI is concerned, which is a good thing because then that leaves us more room to run up again to higher levels here. So I think this is all good in these things. So I don't think it's all that bad. I think it's just a natural course of events for the market in general. We do see this in sectors where they run up quite nicely here, and then they come back down into reality a little bit, and then they go back up higher as some more bullish narratives start to evolve from companies getting deals, things like that. We'll start going back up here potentially. I don't know exactly when it's going to be, whether it's going to be tomorrow or in a couple of days, in a couple of weeks, whatever it might be. But I think we're going to bounce back up here eventually, unless the whole market tanks on us and then we're all going down anyways. So that's kind of the way I see it right now, at least. Okay, MicroStrategy here was down 3.15%. Galaxy was down 3.28. Block was down 1.33. Coin was down 4.38. Metaplanet was up 1.21. Exodus was down 2.61. Nexon was up 8. Nexon seems to be doing pretty good here. Nexon is up 8.23%. Everything else is going down, but this thing is going up. I'm not sure exactly why. Earnings came out. So earnings, let's see here. Surprise was 16 million, it looks like, to the upside. So that's kind of what was a surprise there. Revenue here, earnings was down 2 point, but earnings were up. So I think that's the reason why it's running up there, potentially, unless there's something else going on there. Similar was down 6.56%. Phoenix was up 2.86%, and GameStop was down 0.19% there. Small miners were all in the red here today. A lot of these guys got definitely beat up pretty hard here. Annie was only down 1.85%. Argo was down 10.79 here, right? We got to a high of 95 cents here recently. It's back down to 30 cents on this one. So like I said, a lot of these guys seemed like manipulation to me, pump and dumps a little bit. DigiPower was down 14% today. That one's actually faring a little bit better than the other ones. DMG was down 3.92. Mawson was down 25% here recently. Canon was down a little bit as well, 3.48%. And then the minor ETFs got definitely beat up because everything was falling down today. BitKey was down 5.29%. BKCH down 6.76%. DAP was down 5.86%. WGMI was down 6.59%. And then the Ethereum holding companies were also beat up a little bit. It wasn't too bad. BMNR was down 3.79%. BitDigital down 2.96%. BTCS down 6.09%. Game was down 4.59%. SBET was down 3.26%. And then the other companies here that we track here, American Bitcoin was actually up today, surprisingly, up 0.41%. FIG was up 0.14%. Wi-Fi was down 11.15%. That one is obviously following the rest of the data center plays there. Open was up 6.4%. Oracle was down 1.94%. Nibius was down 7.03%. Soluna was down 7.42%. Backed was up 2.43%. Fermi was down 13.43%. What else do we have here? Meta was down 0.74%. And Google, Amazon, and Microsoft were up fractional percentage points there on it overall. So, and you can see Meta obviously took a beating here when they reported earnings here back on the 29th of October, looks like. Yeah, it took a pretty big hit there at that time, and it's maybe starting to bounce back up here a little bit. All right, so that's it for those things. Let's take a look at the miners here in the after hours right now, see how they're doing. We'll start off with Bitdeer. Bitdeer right now is up just a little bit, 0.07%. Bitfarms is up 0.59%. Cypher is up 0.43%. Cleanspark is up, I think it's up, let's see, up 0.68%. CORZ Scientific is right now up 0.64% as well. Hive Digital is up 1.52%. Hut 8 is actually down 0.71%. IREN here is, let's see, up 1.43%. Mara Holdings is up 0.89%. Riot Platforms is, let's see where that one comes in at, 0.81%. And TeraWolf, last but not least here, is actually up 1.86%. So they're up pre-hours. We'll see if they can actually continue those gains in the actual normal hours of trading for these guys. We've seen it plenty of times where overnight hours, these guys are pumping, but then come morning hours, regular trading hours, and these things go down because of, well, I think they're being manipulated by the big guys. We're obviously not the big guys here. We don't have hundreds of millions or billions of dollars to push these things up or down the way we would like to. So there's other parties involved here that obviously do that as well. And yeah, it is what it is. Okay, here, let's take a look at what we got here as far as Bitcoin here, price history right now. Bitcoin is down right now for November here. Let's get that updated, 6%. So we're back down to 6% here. That's not looking good here. Bitcoin ETF inflows or outflows. So today we actually had inflows. Yesterday we only had, looks like 1.2 million inflows. This time around today we have 299 million without IBIT reporting there. So we're probably going to have positive inflows nonetheless. So Bitcoin was down. Inflows were happening. Strange coincidence there. All right. One thing that I was able to find here is saving grace maybe potentially for us here going forward here. If you follow the M2 money supply here and offset it by Bitcoin by like 80, 100 some odd days, it has historically followed pretty closely to that. Recently here, it has kind of diverged from that path here. When that does happen, we may end up having an explosive growth to the upside potentially, right? So this is from Simply Bitcoin. Heads up, global M2 has left Bitcoin behind. Historically, Bitcoin wakes up and violently erases the gap there. And we do have quite a big gap. If this does happen, Bitcoin could possibly go to a 200,000. And maybe this is what Tom Lee and some others are saying, that Bitcoin still could get to 200,000 this year, right? If it plays out this way, obviously I would be ecstatic, happy. And I'm sure you guys would be as well, because at that point, I think the miners would also run on that kind of news there with Bitcoin getting to 200,000, because that would mean that they are generating more revenue from Bitcoin mining. It would be basically double from where they are right now on the revenue side of things. That would be a huge plus for them, especially the companies that are using that revenue there to build out data centers and things like that as well. That should be really, really good news for them. Okay, so let's see if this does happen here, but we are definitely diverged from that over the last probably, month and a half or so on it. So maybe eventually it will start to go back up here. All right. Next here, if we look at this here, we can see, and then are you guys stuck on the, let's see, screen's frozen again. Okay, you guys can't see it here. So let's go see if we can change this up here. We'll go to Q&A. Why is this freezing up on me? It's got to be the app that I'm using here. And I've had issues ever since I've updated OS X to the latest version. It has not been fun right here. Let's see if this corrects. Okay, Q&A is popping up here. All right, let's go back to the browser here. Hopefully that fixes it on it. Let's see, we're going to give it a couple seconds here, see if it goes. Okay. So let's talk about this one here, right? So we talked about this M2M supply. You can see it here on the chart. Hopefully you guys can see this now. Yep, okay, you guys can see it. All right, so that's kind of where we're at right now with it, right? Next, let's get into Cleanspark here. So Cleanspark, obviously, we talked about their convertible notes yesterday when they came out. Stock took a hit from it because of that. Took a little bit more of a hit on it today as well. They now have upsized that pricing to 1.15 billion convertible notes. And we do have some details on it. So the details are actually pretty good here. I'm a little surprised by some of this here, but we do have the 1.15 billion at 0% convertible senior notes offering 27.5 conversion premium. The repurchase of approximately 460 million of common stock from investors in the convertible notes. Is that from prior convertible notes or this one in general? That's the question that I have there. I'm not sure on this one. Right, so I'm thinking it's for the past because they have done convertible notes in the past. I wonder if this is part of that, where they're basically buying those convertible notes out, and then that way you don't have any dilution happening in 2030 or whenever those other notes were in place. Okay. Use of proceeds here. The company anticipates that the aggregate net proceeds from the offering of the convertible notes will be approximately 1.13 billion or approximately 1.28 billion if the initial purchasers exercise in full their option to purchase additional convertible notes after deducting the initial purchasers' discounts and estimated expenses payable by the company. The company intends to use approximately 460 million to repurchase shares of its common stock from investors in the convertible notes. Right? And they didn't say in this convertible note, they just said convertible notes. And the remaining net proceeds for the expansion of the company's power and land portfolio, the development of data center infrastructure, the repayment of outstanding Bitcoin-backed line of credit balances, and general corporate purposes there. So that's all great. The big thing is obviously company's power and land portfolio, which would be great for them to do that as well. All right. So that's Cleanspark here. Again, the dilution here, a lot of people when they see convertible notes, they think it's dilution right away. It's not. It's not until 2032, I believe. Yeah, notes due in 2032. So you would have the dilution basically 6 years out roughly, which is really good. Really good terms on it. 0% also is really good terms. So this should be good. And we've seen other companies as well that have done convertible notes. The stocks usually fall for a day or two, maybe 3 days even, and then they eventually bounce back up here. So I'm hoping the same thing is going to happen here for Cleanspark as it has with other companies also. But that's kind of what I'm seeing there. All right, next we got two Bitdeer stories. One is obviously their operational update for October. The other one is their Q3 results. So we're first going to get into October production updates here. They've had fantastic growth here this year, basically this last couple of quarters, last 2 quarters or so, with installing all of their self-built ASICs, which has now netted them an increase of mining hash rate to 41.2 exahash on continued deployment of seal miners there. Energization commenced at Mawson, Ohio, and Oromia region, Ethiopia sites. Okay, so that's good there. Operational update here. They mined 511 Bitcoin, an increase of approximately 13% from September. Self-mining hash rate reached 41.2, surpassing the company's 40 exahash target, which is great. And Bitdeer will continue deploying steel miner mining rigs for self-mining while concurrently retiring third-party older generation rigs, which is also good on that, right? Becoming more efficient. Love seeing that part of it. Steel miner manufacturing here. We are currently with steel miner A3, right, in final assembly. They got 0.3 exahash here, looks like, in October. September, they got 0.2. Seal miner R&D, the first seal miner chips last verification demonstrated approximately 6 to 7 joules per terahash power efficiency at the chip level under low voltage, ultra low voltage saving mode, targeting mass production in Q1. So those are a little off from where they were targeting. They were targeting about 5 joules per terahash. So that's not too far off from where they were. So that's still really, really good as far as efficiency is concerned there. But they're talking about low voltage and ultra low savings mode there. Not sure what the hash rate would be on that at that point. Okay. And then here's the interesting development here. Development of the next generation CL04 miner is significantly delayed. Not sure why that is the case there on it, but it is significantly delayed there. Let's see here. U.S. manufacturing preparations for Bitdeer's U.S. factory remains in progress, so that's good there. That will help them with some of the possibly tariffs and things like that that we would get from China otherwise. And then HPCI achieved 8 million AI cloud annual run rate as of October. So that represents roughly, what is that going to be, like 800,000, 700,000 roughly a month there. Supported by continued customer demand for NVIDIA B200 systems, they have deployed 584 GPUs as of October 2025, 87% utilization, 510 GPUs subscribed. Utilized GPUs are new B200s, which are undergoing customer testing, which is great there. They do have 8 NVL72 systems are being deployed to data centers in Malaysia. Expect to come online in early December, so that's not too far off there. They also placed orders for NVIDIA next generation GB300s and B300 systems, with delivery expected in 2025 December there. They're continuing to source additional Southeast Asia data center capacity with potential lease agreements under negotiation. And then they're converting a 13 megawatt AI data center in Wenatchee, Washington, is going with targeted completion in Q4 2026. So that's still a year out on that one. And then they initiated the conversion of a 10 megawatt power capacity at Knoxville, Tennessee, into a data center with targeted completion in Q4. So that's also a year out there on it. You guys can read, obviously, the rest of the stuff here. But here's what we have for them as far as operations. Right, self-mining was 41.2 exahash there. Mined 511 Bitcoin. Bitcoin held increased to 2,233. And then you can see also their locations. Are they online right now? They have currently they have 1.6 gigawatts here online that's completed. Then they also have another 1.3 gigawatts that's in progress or in planning right now. A lot of this stuff is going to be Q4 2025, Q4 2026, estimate 2026, Q1 2029. That's a ways out there. Q2 2027, that's also a ways out. And then Q1 2026, that's pretty close here. So they do have a lot of stuff happening here for the next couple of years here, it looks like. All right. So let's take a look at that. And we'll also take a look at, obviously, their quarterly results here while we're doing it for Bitdeer on this one here. So we'll go over it. The big thing that I saw here, well, we'll get into it when we get into the actual quarterly results for them. But here's what we have right now. I need to update this, I believe. That's Q1. We need to look at Q3 numbers there for them. So that's been updated here. Okay, 208 million shares outstanding right now for them. Stock price as of today was $15.02. That gives them a market cap of $3.1 billion as it is. Their performance here over the last 12 weeks has been actually not bad. It's been actually pretty good, right? They're up 64% from 12 weeks ago still, 33 from 8 weeks ago. From 4 weeks, they're down 8%. Last week, they were down almost 1% there, so it wasn't too bad there. Hash rate growth, obviously, at 41.2. I have them at 45.2 exahash for their full installed, and you guys can't see that again. Let's see, let's go back here, and then let's go back into it again. Frozen, yeah, I see. This you guys are saying it's frozen. Let's go back here to that, and then back to here. All right. So we talked about that, and you guys should be able to see all of this data here now as well. Okay. And if this continues, I may actually have to roll back the OSX version to the prior version and probably reinstall stuff again. I don't want to really do that, but I may have to do that because this is pretty frustrating there. So thank you for pointing that out as well, that it is frozen there. Okay, you guys can see this now here. Hopefully it doesn't freeze. I'm going to try and keep up with it as well. So Bitcoin production here, obviously great increase in that, as well as their hash rate has continued to increase there, right? Their low was kind of in February of this year, 110 Bitcoin there. And they've basically 5x that in a matter of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months here, roughly, right, to get to 511 Bitcoin being produced there. Revenue also has continued to increase quite nicely. In March, they were at the lowest at 9.7 million there. They basically, you could say almost 6x that to 58.3 million here, which is nice to see that. Total current estimated revenue, annual run rate right now is at 700 million, so that's pretty good there. Bitcoin HODL has also continued to increase, which is good at this point here. And then when we look at their hash rate obviously from February onwards was going gangbusters here for them as they get newer and newer seal miners installed here, which is really good. Okay, Bitcoin sold here recently. They've been selling about 300 some odd Bitcoin here. They sold 307, it looks like, in October. BTC per exahash efficiency, really good here. It's 12.4. This might be the most efficient company for the month of October right now, based on the numbers that I'm seeing, at least on this stuff here. Bitcoin sold, that was about 35 million there. And then quarterly results here, we're getting into that as well. And I forgot to update this. Okay, so, geez, I don't want to have you guys waste the time here while I do this right now. I thought I got this done, but there were two things that I needed to get done, obviously the operational update and then the quarterly results here. We'll look at those numbers down below in the actual spreadsheet here, okay? So going down here, I'll cover all that stuff here, and I'll get this updated for you guys for tomorrow. Institutions have increased to 201 here. Shares are now 50.59 million, and that represents 31.77% of the total shares outstanding right now as it is. We still have the 10 strong buy ratings, 2 buy ratings, then the 0 hold, 0 underperforms, 0 sells. And we got a high target for them of $50, which they are currently at $15. So they definitely have a lot of upside potential here. Average is $33.76, and the low went up to $20 as well. For the month of October here, we obviously added more miners here. We talked about that a little bit here, and I had them running for about 30.34 days out of the month here, which is, I think, the best that I've seen here so far from all the miners as far as operations are concerned, which is really, really good. And then the new miners were running for approximately 20 days on average. Is kind of what I'm figuring there. All right, let's get into here the quarterly results here. So I need to update this as well. Let me do this really quick here. Equals, there was just a lot of stuff going on here. Quarterly results, this was for last, let me see, we had July, August, September, that was it. Okay, so that's what we mined there. Okay, ending hash rate also equaled, really quick before I forget, where were we there in September, 35 exahash. All right, that's been updated. Custom Bitcoin there, we can figure that out now. Why did I get 0? Probably because something had changed on it. Let's see, BTC mined, 1019. What am I missing here? Table 1. Oh, that's this one over here. I need to go cost of electricity down to here. All right, now I got it. All right, so cost of mine actually came down to 50,000 for them from 59,000 in the past, at least. All right, we'll get into some of these numbers as well here in a second. But here's what we have. So asset-wise, we have cash and cash equivalents went down about 100 million there, roughly. Cryptocurrencies also went down to about 82 million, so about half of where they were before. But now they have cryptocurrency receivables, 263 million. And, I have to look more into this one as far as what this actually involves there for them. Other big things, inventories went up to a little bit to 231 million from 208. Prepayments and other assets went up to 564 million from 391. So that got us to total current assets of 1.28 billion there. Slight increase from the 1.15 or 1.11 that we had there prior quarter. What else was there that was kind of high here? Prepayments and other assets, that went down actually to 28 from 75. Mining rigs went up to 406 million from 211 there. That was definitely a big increase there. So total assets increased to 2.4 from 2 billion, 400 million increase. That's nice to see that. But then we also see the liabilities, current liabilities at least, increased quite a bit also on this. Big change here was derivative liabilities, 672 million from 437 million there. And the borrowings from a related party went up to 200 million from 90 million. So that increased their borrowings or their current liabilities by about 400 million roughly from the 1.08 that they had here in the prior quarter and 1.4 billion here that they have now in the current quarter there. Other things that have kind of went up here quite a bit was borrowings from related party and other liabilities, right? 261 from 82 million. That was a big one there for them. And that got obviously increased their total non-current liabilities to 427 million from 252 million. So I think that's partially why the stock went down as well with the news about the A4 being delayed. And then maybe some of the revenues that they also got from selling the A6 there were actually down on it. So I think maybe that played a part into it as well. Okay, so overall, total liabilities and stockholder equity went down actually to 573 million from 706. So I think that part was also a reason for it, the stock going down there. But we can see revenues increased quite nicely here, 230 million compared to the 59 million that we had here in the prior quarter. That's basically a double plus at that point, right? What else do we have here? Sales of mining machines was only 11 million there compared to 69 million in the prior quarter. So that's definitely down quite a bit there on that. General hosting was on a little bit there. Membership hosting was about flat, down a little bit, but not too bad here. Membership hosting was up actually. So, I mean, some good things, some bad things overall, but it seems like the bad things kind of outweighed some of the good things here, unfortunately for them. What else do we have here? Cost of revenue was 128 million, right? Selling expenses was 1.2, so it wasn't too bad. General administrative was about the same, flat, more or less, 20 million on that. Research and development definitely went up 19 million. That's not great. We saw a decrease, obviously, here in Q2. We were much higher here in Q1 for that. We were at 59 million. That was still pretty high. But, yeah, I'm not sure why their R&D is so high there on it. So that also probably hurt a little bit there. Other income expenses, other net gains. So there was another net negative 238 million there. That kind of hurt there. I'm not sure what that was from as far as net gain on it. That definitely hurt there. So total loss came in at about 266 million for him, and the stock, per share was $1.28 EPS negative, which was not great, right? They were at negative 76 cents here. Not great. So I think the combination of a bunch of these little things here added up to where the stock was getting beat up quite tremendously in the last 2 days for it, right? If you look at the numbers here that we do have for them on Q3 figures, as far as like the sales of seal miners here, they only had 11.4 million in sales on it, where prior to that they had 69.5 million here. So I mean, they only made on that about 1.4 million here. Last time around they made about 8.9. So I don't know if there's just not a lot of demand for those or what's going on there on it. Would like a little bit more light into it, I guess. If you guys know the reason for it, you guys can definitely let me know here. And it looks like we're frozen again on it. Maybe not. Let me see. Take a look if we're frozen. Let's see. Looks like I'm frozen. Yeah. It's not changing here, so let's go back to this. That should reset it, hopefully. And we're going to go back here to this. Yep, okay. So that kind of reset it. All right. I apologize for that. I'll have to fix it, figure out what the heck is going on with my software here. See if there's maybe an update to my software. Maybe that fixes it. We'll see. But yeah, so that's kind of the reasons why it fell the last 2 days, unfortunately, right? Higher R&D. Less sales of ASICs. Bitcoin mining revenue was up nicely, but they also had some things, possibly one-time events that pushed the stock down lower, unfortunately for them. But again, they do have a lot of capacity here for going forward into the next 1, 2, 3 years going forward. So there is definitely still a lot of potential here for Bitdeer, I think. We talked about Bitdeer, obviously, going back to last year, I said at that point, right, they have a lot of growth happening for them in 2025 towards the second half, and we're seeing that obviously here for them play out right now. It's just how much demand is there for their ASICs right now it seems kind of low, right? I mean, you're seeing obviously Bitmain take orders. I don't know. Recently a lot of these miners have not been buying anything really, but historically we've seen obviously huge demand for Bitmain machines, where they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars, and we're seeing Bitdeer get very little of that percentage of it, which is kind of surprising. I thought they would do a little bit better. Maybe because they're a newcomer, they need to be proven out. Their machines need to be proven out as well, right? How long will the machines last going forward? Can they last more than a couple of years as well? Is that part of the process there? While they do advance and making these things more and more efficient here, but can they last at least like 3 years, right? I think that may be the big question on a lot of people's minds here. Right now, we've only had them out for roughly a year, I believe, since the A1s came out. So yeah, that is it for Bitdeer. Great operations for October. Not so great results on the quarterly results, unfortunately. So we are where we are right now, and with the market being the market, didn't help out either with the stock going down here. So, but they are going into HPCI as well, which is good, like a lot of these companies are. And yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see how it does going forward here. Okay. Let's see. All right, that is it. So let's get into Q&A here. So what you guys have to say on it, on any of this stuff at all. And what are you guys thinking right now? Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll right now. We haven't done a poll in a little bit here. Let me see here. What can we do here? Let's go to, I see a new option here. I have a new option where I can do members only live stream. So I can switch from a regular public stream to a members only live stream. That's interesting. I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. Start a poll. Okay. Here's a poll. Is the AI boom a bust? Obviously, yes or no. Let me know there, and then maybe we'll do another one if you have another couple more minutes. We'll do one if Bitcoin boom is a bust. All right, let's get to Q&A. We are going on 35 minutes roughly, so we're doing pretty good here on time to date. Today and tonight, two words combined. When you get older and you get tired, you start making up words at that point. Okay, let's see, where am I at here? Okay, as always, questions. If you could preface those with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it here. I'm going to scroll my way up as always. I'm going to work my way down, and we'll get through all the questions here, comments, and anything else that pops up. All right. Roger says he doesn't think we have enough time to pump before year-end profit taking. No Moonvember. That might be the case. We're still relatively early in November. We could possibly still go up a little bit here, but it's not working out for us right now. Government shutdown ending tomorrow would be great. I think that would help out, but we'll have to obviously wait and see on that one. Nobody has a crystal ball on this. All right. Roger says tokenization of the stock market happening on Ethereum. Yeah, I mean, it's not just, I think that's a good thing there. Guy says, hey Seb, how are you? I'm good. Hopefully you're doing good as also. Do you still believe Cleanspark can hit 2350 this year, since we have only 6 weeks left this year and BTC is not cooperating? Well, Bitcoin doesn't have to cooperate, but if they come up with some good news about getting more sites, getting, anything like for HPCI or doing a neo cloud, the stock can definitely go up at that point, and it doesn't need, it can run up quite quickly here if it really wants to 2350. So I think it's still possible. But as every day goes by, that possibly definitely decreases here for us, unfortunately. All right. Roger says, got some more BMNR. Seen a lot of bullish news on Ethereum lately. Okay. Let's see. Rob says, I had thought China was banned, but still they are in the game. In the game as far as Bitcoin, just purchasing Bitcoin, selling Bitcoin, or mining. I'm not sure which part of that you're talking about there. Let's see. Guy says, I have a strong belief that either this cycle is over or it's a super cycle, and the miner and BTC will run if they do in Q1 and Q2 26, but not in 2025. Any comments? I mean, I wouldn't call it a super cycle. I think it might be an extended cycle. Super cycle would mean that we're going to like 250, 300,000 here in Q1, Q2 potentially, right? That would be kind of super cycle for it, I think. Maybe even a little bit higher at that point as well, like 300,000. That would be a super cycle. So I wouldn't call it a super cycle. Extended cycle, I could see that. I still think that might be a possibility here. All right. See, John Kurtz says, thank you, Melon. Sold Bitfarms early before the slide and bought more IREN at 57.35. I'm more out. Yeah, these guys definitely give you whiplash when it comes to the market price action on these things. Just got to know what you own and, for how long you want to hold on to it here. Rob says, hey, Seb. Hi, Rob. Rob, would you believe this? But yesterday, a Russian crypto trader listed the following top countries for Bitcoin on YouTube as number 1, United States, number 2, Russia, number 3, China, and number 4, Paraguay, number 5, United Arab Emirates, and number 6, Canada. Well, I mean, Russia, you got the oligarchs. China, you obviously also have a lot of wealthy people there. So I could see that being a possibility. United States, obviously, we know the United States is the capital of crypto right now, at least. Paraguay has been buying Bitcoin, so I think that may be a reason why. Plus, they're allowing their citizens to use Bitcoin as a currency. And then United Arab Emirates, a lot of people are wealthy there also. And then Canada, so kind of makes sense a little bit there as far as if you look at the wealth distribution on some of these people there. Okay. Fire Dream says, miners destroyed. This isn't the worst that we've seen out of these guys here, so I would be just patient here. D-Roy says, hey, I believe this may be one of the last chances to get Bitcoin at 100,000 price. If we bounce off of the 50 SMA on the weekly, then yeah, this might be one of the last chances that we get here. Dan says, I'm down 40,000 in 2 weeks. I have no hope left. All I want to see is Cleanspark at 25 freaking dollars. All right, Dan, I'm going to make you feel a little bit better here. I am down right now approximately from my top where I was just a couple of weeks ago to where I am now. I am down on paper at least 600,000, right? So I'm still holding strong. I still think that we're going to, rally eventually here. I don't know exactly when it's going to be, whether it's going to be the next week, 2 months, 3 months, half a year, whatever it might be. I'm not too concerned about it. I'm investing in these guys for a little bit longer time frame, potentially now that they're getting to HPCI as well. I think there's a lot of potential there and a lot of demand as well. So hopefully that makes you feel a little bit better, right? On paper, it sucks looking at that being down 600,000. Like, man, that's basically, several years of me working at that point. So it's never a great feeling, but you kind of got to know what your tolerances are. You have to know what your end goal is. And then are you short-term or are you longer-term investor as well? Okay. Rob, what goes down eventually goes back up. I would agree with you there as well. And hopefully you guys are seeing these things pop up here. Hopefully we haven't stalled out yet. And it looks like it's still going there, so we're looking good. All right. Let's see. Rob says Bitdeer is a bunch of slackers. I wouldn't call them a bunch of slackers. I mean, they obviously, are creating their own ASIC machines, which is not easy. You obviously have to have the talent there to do it. And they have been improving on the joules per terahash there. They've been also building out their hash rate to 41.2 exahash right now, which has been huge growth for them. So I wouldn't call them slackers, to be honest with you. I think there's just some issues, maybe, I wouldn't even say financially issues. I would just say one-off events, things like that kind of happen from time to time, and that's kind of what you get here. All right. Larry says, I'm still ride and die, IREN and Bitfarms. Nice. Victor, does Cypher have a good reputation to build up on time like IREN? Yeah, they do. They've been pretty accurate on their timelines and things like that to build out, so I would say yes. All right. Let's see. User, CoreWeave's delay is due to CORZ. CORZ couldn't deliver on time, delayed by a quarter. Yes. I talked about that in the beginning of the show as well when I was talking about CoreWeave there being down 10% today. Not CoreWeave, Core Scientific, sorry. Being down. But yes, that is the main reason why. And what is the delay? The delay is probably like some of the infrastructure equipment that you need there. I think that's what's delaying things. Right, you're always at the mercy of your suppliers when it comes to those kind of components there. All right, now it says Jim Cramer came at CoreWeave hard and swiped at Core Scientific in the process. CoreWeave sort of made the case for IREN. I would agree with you there. Yep. Kramer also asked why CoreWeave chose a failed Bitcoin miner to work with. Yeah, ouch, yeah, he called them out saying that they were bankrupt, right? Why did they decide to work with them? And CoreWeave CEO stated that, they've had a good relationship with them going back a number of years here. So, some things are, unfortunately, sometimes things are out of your control. Suppliers, equipment, things like that are sometimes delayed, unfortunately. So, you can plan as best you can, but if things don't come in when you need them to come in, you're going to be off at that point, right? So that is definitely notable. EH says, this too shall pass. I believe that as well. Neville says, I feel in my bones that Bitfarms gets a deal with Amazon and Amazon just offers to purchase them outright. That would be interesting here. I think they would probably do a deal first for co-location or something like that, and then once they have that kind of locked in, then they would go in for the jugular, possibly try to buy them out. I could see that possibly happening here, right? But it would depend on the offering price for it. We've seen it, obviously, what CoreWeave did with Core Scientific. They went in first, got the deals for a number of years there, got that locked in, and then they tried to take them out, basically kneecap them at that point. But that didn't work out too well for CoreWeave there. Because we've obviously seen a huge re-rating in the data center space with megawatts. All right, user MBS call today confirmed insane demand, got Meta deal for $3 billion, raised guidance for 2026 to $7.9 billion, was $5 billion before. Yeah, so I mean, the demand is still out there. It's just, the market is the market, and the market is going to ride things up, and then they're going to take things down to make more profits on their way back up. So, and it says bull run is over, see you in 4 years. You might be right? We don't know. I'm thinking that it's going to be an extended cycle here, so you just never know. I mean, we'll see. We'll know in the next, I would say probably 2 to 4 months. We'll probably know if it's the same cycle or if it's a different cycle altogether. All right, user could also be due to liquidity in the market, due to shutdown. U.S. Treasury was only taking money, but not giving out loans in the range of a few hundred. Yeah, that could be a part of it also there. Mark says Bitdeer got slaughtered. Yeah, they did on that. User, this has nothing to do with 4-year cycles. Miners are rated as HPCI, not miners. HPCI thesis is still intact. If you listen to any earnings call from hyperscalers, they call confirmed increase CapEx for 2026. Yes, that is true there. That's why I'm still bullish on the space, especially the miners that are going into HPCI, IREN, Cypher, Terrawolf as well, and then others that are getting into it, Cleanspark, Bitfarms, and Bitdeer as well. Right, I think those are good plays to be in potentially. Not financial advice as always. Okay, Mr. X, question: down market today made everyone forget about Cleanspark senior note. Do you think it's priced in now? I think it is. Yeah, with yesterday's price action after hours and today's as well, I think it's more or less priced in at that point. John Smith question here. Hi Seb, there seems to be some concern about GPU depreciation for IREN after the 5-year contract and what they will do from there. What are your thoughts? Okay. The big thing is I'm a little bit less concerned with the GPUs, right? The GPUs obviously are going to depreciate. That's a given there. As you have basically Moore's law in play here. Each year you're going to get newer generation GPUs out that are going to be more efficient. We don't know if they're going to be double efficient or whatever the efficiency is going to be, but it's going to be more efficient, right? So in 5 years, the GPUs that you had prior to that, they can still probably be used for inference and things like that. So you still might be able to squeak out another couple years, maybe 1 or 2 years on those GPUs potentially, depending on how hard they've been used and the conditions they've been in, conditions that like environmental conditions, right? that they've been exposed to. So that is still a possibility. The big thing is the data center itself. Once you build that sucker out, you have that for like 20, 30 years to then make, right? You're not spending those $12 to $15 million or what do they call it? $8 to $12 million per megawatt to build out. That is huge savings going forward that you don't have to worry about. You can just buy GPUs, put new ones in there, and you're actually making more money at that point. So you got to build and equip at the same time in the beginning, but later on you just have to equip, not build, potentially. So I think that's where the promise is going forward from there. Let's see. Noah says, I'm starting to think maybe the BTC corrects to the 70,000 level by June and then starts a nice bull run for the remaining 3 years of the cycle. I don't know. I still think we largely go up. 70,000, at that point, we'd be in bear market with Bitcoin. That would be roughly 40%, 50% correction on it from where we are right now, right? We got to 126,000, 50% would be 60,000. Then we get us down to 80s. Yeah, so we're looking at more 50% correction on it at that point. That would be cycle repeats. We're down in the bear market territory at that point. As long as we can stay above the levels that we are at right now, above 103,000 or so, with the weekly 50 SMA bouncing off of that, I think we're going to be in an extended cycle here. But we don't know, right? Time will tell on that. I still have that feeling that we might be in that kind of range there. Dan, if Bitcoin goes to 130,000, what would CleanSpark price be? Thoughts? I mean, it's not going to be up much higher, but that's only 30% from where we are right now in Bitcoin. And a lot of these guys, CleanSpark included a little bit here, is more priced in for data center, right? HPCI. But still, that should help out there for them. So it should go up at least, right, to... Oh gosh, I don't know. I'm just off the cuff here. I'm saying probably closer to $20 again, right? Maybe a little higher than that as well. All right, screen frozen. Yep, that was going back. We covered that already. Let's see. It's all about the DXY right now. Last 2 cycle peaks were preceded by a wave 5 down in the Dixie. I think we're close to the next one. Okay, so that would be good. User CoreWeave and Nibius both confirmed they were able to renew GPU contracts after they expired. CoreWeave was able to renew 95% of the original prices. Nibius was able to renew at same or higher price. Burst. Okay, that's interesting. That's very good. J. Patel, this is some BS for Cypher. What is? Let's see. User depreciation thesis is my personal opinion. Doesn't agree with CoreWeave and Nibius has shared. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, depreciation is going to be there, obviously, on these things, because these things cost a lot. But again, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, can't really do anything about that. All right, talked about, yep, I was frozen, got that fixed. Okay, what happened to CleanSpark from 22 to 14? Wasn't just CleanSpark, it was others as well. A lot of these players came back down here in price, so that's kind of what happened there. on it. We had a nice run up here. A lot of the stuff, if you look at the RSI, a lot of these guys, RSI went up above 70 and even higher at that point. Need a little bit of a cooling period here, which I think is what we're in right now, preparing for the next run up. That's kind of what I'm thinking here. All right. What would Cleanspark be at price-wise if Bitcoin gets to 150,000 there? Again, at that point, probably north of $23, $24 per share, probably, as long as everything else is running up. Because Bitcoin's running up at that point, everything else is kind of running up as well. So that's kind of where I would see them. Okay, let's see. Fire Dream. Dude, you need to monitor chat frozen today. Muted yesterday. Chat trying to type. I know. I am trying to monitor it. Thank you for that. CORZ was dragged down by CoreWeave because CORZ was blamed for delays. Yeah, talked about that as well. Government is tapping in on the freezing. Yeah, they're monitoring the line here. Or they're trying to hack me. One of the two. Brokola, yes, can see that. Okay. DeFi, based on the latest details on Cleanspark, in short term, is this bullish? What's your view on Cleanspark as HPC play? They are in the early innings of that, right? They hired on, I think, a great individual that has a lot of experience for it. They bought a site in Texas as well. So they're doing all the right things here. Going forward, they also partnered with, what was that called? Company name called, I'm drawing blank on it right now. But they partnered with a great company as well to help them build out data centers. So they're doing all the right things. It's just now they need to execute and get customers and rinse and repeat, more or less. Okay, what else do we have here? Talking about that. CJ, today was another gut punch for the miners. We've been through this many times. You've been in this space at any length of time, over a year or more. You've seen this plenty of times before as well. DeFi, has your price target increased based on the latest news for Cleanspark there or somebody else? Based on the news here, I mean, the convertible notes is fine. I'm fine with that. 0%, not due until 2032. That's fine. They're going to have cash, obviously, to buy more sites and things like that if they want to do that and pay down some debt that they have, which is great. But yeah, I mean, that news doesn't really move the needle there. We need news of either more sites, more megawatts being purchased, or, you know, are they going to be buying GPUs to build out their own Neo Cloud, or are they going to be going co-location route, things like that. Kyle, do you think Bitdeer drop was an overreaction? I feel they will soon announce an HPC deal. They were profitable as far as I understand it. It was an accounting loss. Yeah, it was. I would probably agree with you. There's a slight overreaction here. The thing that I didn't like was obviously the lower sales in ASICs to customers, the higher increase in R&D. Overall, Bitcoin mining increased revenue for them quite nicely there, so that was great to see. But there were a couple things that were, kind of negative on it. EH says domestic is 95% pain and 5% euphoria. At times, it does definitely feel like that. Mark, man, I feel depressed. What last few days we had? Yeah, we go through these kind of ups and downs, right? It's never going to be a straight shot up to Valhalla, to the moon. It's always going to be, we go up and we come back down, and then we go back up. And it's at those down times that the market wants you to capitulate, sell out, so they can buy your shares, and then they can run them up higher at that point. All right. User says, I'm leaning to separate my conviction for the thesis from my feelings for the price action, but also trim some of the less aggressive. Very nice. Okay, yeah. Rogue, Bitdeer also had a fire at their new building site at Ohio. 2 buildings damaged, so might be down further yet. Oh, I did not see that. Okay. What else we got here? Wondering if you are buying any Bitfarms and what's your end of year projection price on Bitfarms. I'm not buying anything recently. As I've said before here, you guys can see in the background here that I got studs and I'm finishing out the basement here. So pretty much all the capital that I have extra is going into finishing out the basement here. If I wasn't doing that, then I would probably be buying some of these things as they are going down and dollar cost averaging into them here. As far as Bitfarms price projection, that's going to greatly depend on where does Bitcoin go a little bit, and then also do they get a deal for HPCI or something like that for co-location at one of their sites. That will definitely impact as far as how high they can go here, but it's hard to tell where they're going to be right now. Rob says, which was most efficient company again, Seb? Which was the most efficient company again? Right now, it looks like Bitdeer was the most efficient here in October, at least right now. All right. Let's see, Joshua, friends, who has already bought AIX 249 token in pre-sale? Nobody. No. Isn't AITX a scam? Probably a scam. Josh sort of head says, yeah, I think it might be a scam there. Be careful on any tokens or things like that. Mr. X, what's your take on Bitdeer? Bitdeer has a lot of growth potential going here forward for them. I've loved the growth that they've had in Bitcoin mining. Not too happy with the sales of the ASICs that they're seeing there right now, at least for last quarter. Prior quarter was much better there, but they do have potential here, so I still look at them favorably. Right, the accounting and numbers there were not great, and other things were a little higher. So, okay, let's see. Where are we at here? All right, Paul, my first time seeing scammers in the chat here. Yeah, mine too. Right now, that was interesting. Steven, I told you Bitdeer is heavily manipulated. Stay away from that one. I mean, you could say that for others as well. They do have less institutional ownership than others in this space. And it's, I think, maybe because they are a Singapore company based and not US based. So that may be part of it as well. All right. Let's see. Rob says, I can't wait till Wednesday. Tomorrow is over because on Thursday morning is the release of Bitfarms earnings presentation. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that to see what they actually guide us with, right? As far as what is their guidance going forward, what have their conversations been like with possible customers as well. We'll definitely have to hear more on that. Steven says, I don't trust Mara CEO. Stock is heavily manipulated. Also, Cleanspark is kind of the same. I trust Cleanspark management there much, much more than I do, to be honest with you, also like Mara CEO there. But that's just kind of my opinion there. User too much confirmed. CapEx to be a bust. For 2026, hyperscalers confirmed 600 billion capex. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy in a sense, but there's just definitely a lot of demand there. Sir Langton here. Well, BTC definitely tanked a wee bit. It's been having a hard time bouncing here a little bit. All right, BH, guys, don't underestimate the ability of Cleanspark to F you. We'll never touch that again. Depending when you got into it, obviously if you got in higher prices, you're not probably going to be happier. We've seen that plenty of times before as well. If you got in much lower prices as they were coming down, then you're probably pretty happier. I'm still pretty happy with it. I'm still up quite nicely on that one. So you got to know what you own and when you get into it as well is very, very important. Rob, would you believe this? But yesterday, a Russian crypto trader, okay, we talked about that already. Jeff, is it still possible to buy? Okay, that's a scam there. Let me see. Can I can't do it here. I could probably do it in the actual comments there on the stream there to block certain people. Let's see, EDB. The interview with Michael Intrator with Jim Cramer clearly was affect CORZ shareholders, but looks like it had a terrible impact to CORZ as well. What do you think? Yeah, definitely didn't help out there for sure. The user says, please ban Josh, a bot. Yeah, I'm going to look into it to see if he pops up again when I see him in the stream down here. Okay, Neil says, I just got back into the miners. I was off making money in other sectors. Okay. BH, if the Microsoft deal of IREN is barely profitable, the free cash flow doesn't look good. It's going to be cash flow positive, but there's obviously a lot of expense in building out the data centers to their needs, and also the GPUs are going to be expensive there, right? So it might be close to, I don't know if it's going to be a wash completely. I haven't done the research on it as far as what the actual cost is going to be, or depending on what you buy the GPUs at. Maybe they get a deal from NVIDIA there for a little bit better price, who knows, or from Dell on it based on how much they're going to be buying there. It's hard to tell, right? Without having the actual numbers on it, we are just making best guess estimates as far as what the pricing could be on it. All right. User, IREN keens the data center and GPU after IREN needs. I'm not sure what that keens. The data center and GPU after keeps. Yes, they keep the data center and the GPUs afterwards, right? So there's some resale value to those things as well. I would love to get my hands on a GB300 or something like that in a couple of years. Because, I mean, right now they're being, what, like 30-some-odd thousand, 40, 50,000, whatever heck those things are off. If I can get them for like $500, even $1,000 used, that'd be great. Pump it into my little server. That'd be great. All right, sorry, take a sip. All right, Rob says, yes, they will own all. That's a great thing, right? The big thing is infrastructure. They're going to own that. Bitdeer missed earnings by $1.03. I'm bullish on their HPC potential. Yeah, I think they do have a lot of potential there going forward. BH here, and it looks like things are acting weird here for me. Why did that go away? I'm not sure. Yeah, things are acting weird here. What are your Hive over under value? Oh my gosh. I think they should be, based on my numbers, they should be valued much higher from where they are right now. I'll just leave it at that. They're Roquela, it's a flagship deal. Microsoft, a small portion of their power. Let them prove themselves. I would agree with you there, right? It's only, what's it going to be, like 2% of their overall power that they have available going forward for what they're doing. So they still have a lot of potential going forward. Sadie, thank you as always for the likes there. Greatly appreciate it. Sir Langton, thank you for the like. Sir Langton, lesson to be learned. Continually take profits as much as stock rises. They also dip. That is very true, right? I've said it many, many times before. No shame in taking profits. I'm maybe the exception there. I haven't taken any profits here in the last, well, we haven't had any profits over the last couple of years, but I haven't taken any profits here on the way up right now. I still think we're going to go up higher on these things. But I'm at a different situation in my life where I can do that. I would definitely not advise it for everybody to do that. Okay, that's it. Hey, Seb, have watched the CoreWeave CEO interview with Kramer today. He was nervous and fumbled the interview. Yeah, I saw that as well. I talked about it here. Buster Friends did. Okay, there's another one that we have here coming in here that we may have to ban here going forward. Let's see. Sterlington says, never be married to any stock. Keep playing the field. If you're a day trader or something like that, yes. Investors can be in the stocks for a little bit longer than, longer than a year or something like that. I've been in some of these guys here for now 2-3 years. I consider myself more or less an investor at this point than I do a trader. I don't have time to trade. So I try to find these kind of nice companies that will actually do pretty well for us. And so far, these have done really well. Garrett, no, that Cleanspark has switched direction, 180 degrees. They have fallen from escape velocity. I thought they were opposite to dilution until they were at high stock prices. Okay. Dan, Cleanspark get to $25 by February? It is possible. Markets go up, Bitcoin goes up. Yeah, it's possible. Bitdeer has 2.7 gigawatts HPC potential. Analysts have a $30 to $44. That's $50 now actually for them, but that's because they have to prove themselves as well. But the analyst price targets have definitely increased on them as well. All right, let's see. Ann says, Sterlington, absolutely agree. I got burned with that holding on too long. Yep. All right. Mike Alfred put $16.50 price target on ASST if Bitcoin hits 310,000 in 2026. Do you think BTC will get to his target in 2026? All right. So if we get close to 150,000 by the end of this year, which is not too far away, about 6 weeks away, which might be kind of tough to see, but well, you never know with Bitcoin. Next year, 2026, would we double from there? If Bitcoin get to 150,000 this year, it'd be only a 50% increase from where we were beginning of the year, more or less. Right? So another 50% increase from that. If we do that, that would be 225,000, I think it would be the number there. So 310 would be pretty high there, unless things really, really take off in the markets and everything else. Then we could possibly see it go up higher. But yeah, I'm not sure even where AST is right now. Garrett, 95% of the Hopper sites can't hold Blackwells or Robins, so not a great future for those sites. Yes, you need liquid cooling, direct to chip, all that stuff has to be obviously played into it. Garrett, Mike Alfred hasn't been wrong all year on his Bitcoin price predictions. Well, he was calling for, 200,000 by the end of the year here? I've been calling it for it too. I was thinking 150,000 to 200,000 somewhere by the end of the year. We'll see if we get there. So, and we'll see. All right. I'm going to call you Sharma because I can't pronounce your first name, so I do apologize there. What's your read about Cleanspark share buyback, selling executive and investor shares instead of buying from a market or utilizing money for expansion? Yeah, I'm a little, a little confused on that, right? It says buying the convertible notes. Not sure if it's the current convertible notes that they're getting, or is it prior convertible notes, because they do have prior convertible notes as well, I believe. So yeah, I'm not sure on that one. I need to do a little bit more research. I may actually need to reach out to them for clarification there on that side of things. Let's see here. User asks, for Gary, can the power distribution rails be retrofitted to be compatible? Power rails? I mean, you're talking about 130, what do they call it? 130 kilowatt to 200 kilowatt racks density on IREN site there, so I'm not sure. That would definitely be a question for an electrician there. Let's see what else we got. Trying to find some questions here. Gary says, okay, yes, but not cheap to convert. Remember, Rubens will be liquid cooled only, I believe, so might as well start fresh if building a liquid cooled data center. Yeah, I would agree with you there on that if that's the case. Okay, let's see. Sir Langton, it's also being patient as selling at highs and waiting for huge dips before reinvesting will test you too. Yeah, that is very true there. Amanda, any thoughts on the upcoming Bitfarms earnings on Thursday? I would be quite honestly surprised if they have a positive EPS without the FSB impact. But they don't have the FSB impact anyways because they might be reporting on the United States side of things here now, so they might be able to take advantage of that. Maybe. I'm not even sure how much Bitcoin they have any left right now as it is. The big thing that I'm looking forward to is any guidance going forward on HPCI progress, build out, customers, things like that. That's kind of what I'm really looking for there. All right. EH says, well, thank you for the super chat. First of all, similar moves coming to DXY, 26 October 23 to 04 January. Okay, that would be great. Fun to watching your detailed analysis since June 2022. One of 173 viewers on those videos. Bitfarms was still shortly after getting into the 30 cents. Yeah. Well, thank you for being here that long. Really appreciate it. All right. And says, I found two ETFs on TSX that are opposite for natural gas, HNU, HND. So when one goes up, the other goes down, going to try to take profits and buy the other cheap. Okay. That's maybe one way to play it. Angie, I miss out most of the chat. What's happened to the AI outlook? Aren't we still early? Yes, I still believe that. And I think a lot of people here also believe that as well. Rob asks, who's Mike Elford? Mike Elford is a serial entrepreneur, investor. He sits on the IREN's board there as well. And he is definitely very active on X as well. Overall, a great guy. Angie, going forward with the Bitfarms earnings, what happened to them? I have averaged into them and it went down. Depending when you got into it, obviously if you got into it when it was closer to $4 or $5, something like that, then yeah, you're probably still going to be a little bit negative on it. But the earnings are coming up here on Thursday. We'll see what they have to say for it as far as what is their guidance going forward on that. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to that. What else we have here? All right, Gary says, Kramer probably worried his promoting CoreWeave might ruin his reputation for accuracy there. Okay, maybe. Sharam, Amara looks a steal from here. Bitcoin seems to be about to rip any day now. Okay. Any day now, you will personally invest at these levels in Mara or Cleanspark. Would I personally invest? Mara obviously has not done that great this year. It's been a laggard compared to the other Bitcoin miners and Bitcoin itself. I think past performance, operationally wise and things like that, I would lean more towards Cleanspark than I would for Mara. So I'll just leave it at that there. SH, do you know how much power can Bitfarms draw from the grid to their increased power generation at Panther Creek and Scrubgrass? I think both of those, Scrubgrass might be a potential of 1 gigawatt total there. And there's Ben has said also obviously for Panther Creek that they're trying to get like 1 gigawatt as well, potentially. Scrubgrass might be a little bit more down the road there potentially. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Get rid of that one. Okay. Buster, I will find you and I will make you pay. No, those movies from Neil, what's his name? Guys, those movies, remember those movies? Oh God, what is his name? I'm trying to the name of the actor there. It's, I have very specific skills. I will find you and I will, end you basically. It's Neil something, I believe. Drawing a blank on it. Taken, yes. Taken, yes. Those were great movies there. Rob, with regard to Bitfarms, what is significant about them getting into the Panther Creek area? Panther Creek area is the PGM market. You're also close to a large metropolitan area that has about, my memory serves me correct, I think it's like 30 some odd million people in the vicinity there. So there's a lot of users potentially for AI and things like that. So I think that could be all right, the reason why there. And user says Liam Neeson, yeah, not Neil, Liam. Thank you for that, Liam Neeson. Yeah, great actor. Let's see, EH says could never take that guy seriously. I thought it was a great movie though. I actually love Liam Neeson. I think he's a great actor. A lot of great movies. You have a unique set of skills. Yeah, I have a unique set of skills. Andrea, thank you. Yep, Liam Neeson. Yeah, makes me want to watch the movie. The other one that I like is with Denzel Washington. What's that? The latest. He's had like the latest 3 versions of that movie. It's not The Punisher. It's oh gosh. Oh, trying to blank on that one too. But I know which movies I'm talking about. You guys will probably know also with Denzel Washington. The first movie was probably the best. But great movies there. I can't remember the names right now. I'm sure you guys are going to be able to put it up here. Equalizer. There we go. Thank you for that, user. Equalizer. Yeah. Training Day was another great one. Yeah. But Equalizer. You got Equalizer 1, 2, and 3. Those were great. All right. Just one little guy taking on the mafia and, drug lords and all that stuff because they did some harm to some good people there. So I love those kind of vengeful movies because I want the little guys to be protected and things like that. All right, I think we might call it a day here. Shrum, thanks for the great work. I made life-changing money, and my journey was great because of you being there. Kudos for great work. Much appreciated. I appreciate that very much, and it was all because of you, not because of me, right? I always say that. It's because you guys did the research. You did the due diligence there. You got into the things that you saw value in potentially as well. All right, NG, how does the energy that Bitfarms is generating will compete with IREN and other names? Their energy potentially is going to be down the road. So we're looking more towards end of 2026, 2027 as well for Bitfarms, whereas IREN has more potential here, probably faster. Right, that's kind of the way I would see it, at least. Okay. All right, we're going to call it a day here. We're going on over an hour already as it is. And my back and my feet are starting to hurt from standing for an hour talking to you guys, which I greatly enjoy talking to you guys. But yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day. Maybe the sky's going to be greener tomorrow. Greener and bluer potentially as well. But thank you so much for coming in. Greatly appreciate you guys, all of you, and the ladies. Love you all. I hope you guys have a great night. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. Have a good one.